This is Deepa Bhujbal, and you are listening to WXUT 88.3 FM. Today is Saturday, March 27th, and here's your weekly news update. These stories were researched and reported by student journalists at UT 10 News. This week, we have reporter Cassidy Pruitt with us to have a brief conversation about local vaccination sites, as college students will soon be eligible to get the vaccine. Later, reporter Keegan Shannon will tell us his thoughts about a restaurant, which also happens to be a local favorite. Let's begin. Thank you for joining us, Cassidy. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I've been doing great. Thank you for joining us today.
Of course.
So, tell us a little bit about your story.
So I got to go to the Lucas County Fairgrounds in Maumee, where they're holding the mass vaccination clinic for the COVID vaccines. I got to go inside and talk to one of the members from Ohio Department of Health, and it was very cool. It was very interesting to see the inside of it and learn a little bit about what they're doing and what the changes are going to be from the appointment clinics to the mass vaccination clinics that they're doing.
Okay. So what were some of the facts that you came across when you were doing your research?
One thing that I thought was really interesting is that they're only doing the Pfizer vaccination for 16 through 18-year-olds, and then 18 and up get the Moderna and the Johnson & Johnson one, which I didn't know that was a thing. I don't know why they have an age limit on one, but I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. So do you have any updates about future vaccination drives?
There's going to be 18 sites in Ohio. Not all of them are open yet. A lot of them are starting to open next week, once the 18-year-olds are allowed to get them. And the University of Toledo is actually holding a clinic next Thursday, April 1st, from 5 to 9 in Savage Arena for first come, first serve students and employees. Whoever can get there and are able to go to the second vaccination, they will be doing a clinic there.
Yeah, so I did get the email about that. It's the first session, the first and the second shots are on April 1st and April 22nd. Am I correct?
Yep. And they want to make sure that if you come to the first one, you have to be able to come to the second one.
Right. There's also another email circulating around that they're going to do it a second time on April 5th.
That'll be good. I think that's really nice for them to help out the college students like that. Put it right here where we all are.
How do you think this is going to affect college students and education in general in the future semesters?
Well, from what I'm hearing, I think fall classes are starting to become back in person. So I think once the majority gets the vaccine, classes will resume as normal, hopefully, as long as we can get everybody in and out.
Yeah, but anything and everything, safety always comes first. Well, thank you again for joining us today. I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to come and talk with us.
Of course. Thank you for inviting me.
Have a great one.
Thank you. You too.
And moving on, Monday, March 22nd was the start of National Drug Awareness Week. To further raise awareness, Lucas County's Drug Abuse Response Team, also known as DART, performed 2 overdose simulations for ROTC students at UT. Reporter Becca Lustig gives us a deeper insight.
Students in attendance watched 2 overdoses, each ending differently. Affected family members also spoke to students. DART says of the 96 overdoses a day in the U.S., a cheaper synthetic opioid called fentanyl plays a huge role. Locally, fentanyl is appearing in drugs such as cocaine, marijuana, and meth.
A deputy sheriff with the Lucas County Sheriff's Office, Dennis Whaley, says,
people will think this can't happen to me, and with all the drugs that are out there now that they're experimenting with, they're being cross-contaminated, and you just don't know what you're buying anymore. So overdoses happen, and we'll go to the hospitals and they'll say, all I did was smoke a blunt, or all I did was hit a marijuana cigarette, and they're laying there being revived by Narcan. So I think that's the biggest reason we need to be out there.
To find more information about free training on how to use the life-saving drug overdose medication Narcan, you can call the Lucas County Health Department or visit their website. Information regarding the same can also be found on ut10news.com. Recently, the entire nation was shaken after 10 fatalities, one of which was a police officer following a mass shooting at a supermarket in Boulder, Colorado. The suspect was a 21-year-old Ahmad Al-Aliwi Alyssa, was apprehended and he has been charged with murder of 10 victims. Less than a week later, on March 16th, another shooting occurred at local massage parlors. 6 out of the 8 deceased in the shootings were Asian women. The shooting in Atlanta sparked a national discussion on the rise of Asian American hate, which was partially fueled by COVID-19. The Senate met in the wake of both incidents to discuss ways to both decrease and prevent future mass shootings and death by firearms. Reporter Demetria Mitchell tells us how this has affected those in the UT community.
Word of what happened last week in Atlanta traveled fast for people like UT student Juliana Sim.
Pretty much right when it happened because of the communities I'm in. And when I heard about it, it hit me hard, but to be honest, I wasn't surprised that it happened.
Sim says with the increase in reported hate crimes against Asians, many were expecting something really bad to happen, but not to this degree.
This type of discrimination is more of a subtle and verbal only. But now, after the spread of a pandemic a year ago, this type of attack become violent.
Asian Americans have always seen discrimination through history, but with the COVID-19 pandemic, it significantly increased in the United States. According to the Center for the Study of Hate and Extremism, Asian American hate saw a 150% increase, while hate crimes overall dropped 7%. Professor Chin says realizing it could get worse is more motivation to acknowledge and bring awareness, like President Joe Biden did when he acknowledged and celebrated the Chinese New Year during the pandemic and unrest against Asian Americans.
That really brought up some hope and positive feeling among, I think, not just only Asian Americans, but minority group.
Last year, UT's former president, Dr. Sharon Gaber, resigned from the university. Soon, Dr. Gregory Postal stepped in as interim president following her resignation. Earlier this month, Dr. Postal was named UT's 18th president. Reporter Michael Sandlin sat down with Dr. Postal to find out how the university will reform, considering the uncertainties it has faced recently.
Dr. Postal has been put in charge of the university during a challenging time. The global pandemic continues, school staff are out of work, and the medical center is still losing money. Yet the president's outlook for the university is hopeful, and he has a plan on how to get the university back on track, starting with coronavirus.
So now as the disease is less prevalent and more people are being vaccinated, we are able to start doing things a little more like we used to, but we still can't call it normal.
That means testing and masks will continue into the fall, but we can expect an almost complete return to campus. For UT faculty and staff who have seen pay cuts, furloughs, and layoffs during the pandemic, Dr. Postal says relief is being provided with state and federal stimulus money.
We've been very careful how we're using those, but a lot of those dollars have been used to get people back to work. There are very few people on furlough today compared to what perhaps was the case a year ago.
Dr. Postal's also making changes in other areas. There's been much debate on what to do with UTMC, the university's money-hemorrhaging medical center, but Dr. Postal says he sees it as a community asset and will not have it sold.
We're fully committed to it. We're in the process of putting in a new electronic health record. We're hiring nurses, we're hiring doctors. Our quality ratings are going way up. And so there's still a lot of work to be done, but the future is bright over there.
Dr. Postal describes his own plans for the university as ambitious, calling not only for the university to grow, but also to strike a balance between the needs of students and the community. Whether he strikes that balance will only be determined with time.
To watch the entire conversation and also learn more about prevention of hazing, as well as protecting students of color, go to ut10news.com. Good food never disappoints and is often the way to someone's heart. This week, reporter Keegan Shannon gives us an exclusive review of Stubborn Brothers that is also a favorite among college students. Thanks for joining us, Keegan. How are you doing this morning? Are you excited for the weekend ahead?
I am. I'm doing pretty good today. Thank you for asking. Looking forward to a weekend of nice weather.
All right then, let's jump right in. So first off, can you give us a little background about this eatery?
Well, Stubborn Brother Pizza Bar opened in 2018. It was based on the Mancy's premise of New York-style pizza after they've had other family members that grew up along the East Coast, and they wanted to bring that style of pizza to the Toledo area.
So what were some of the things that stuck out to you when you went there?
Some of the things that stuck out to me were the atmosphere. It was a good, kind of a relaxed atmosphere. They had lots of decorations that were Toledo-esque. Lots of reminders of the Glass City, old-time photographs and memorabilia that was hanging on the wall. So, it was comfortable, but it was, a bar-like atmosphere.
Cool. So, yeah, can you tell us some pros and cons of Stubborn Brother?
Pros are, again, the atmosphere. It was very comfortable in there. I've been there pre-COVID times, and, it was always a very friendly place. The staff is great, largely student-aged people, so they're always happy to provide good service. Good food, of course, is a big pro. Their pizza is delicious. Pepperoni coverage, very adequate. As far as cons, I would say for some people the pizza slices may be too big because the slices are New York style, so they're like at least double the size of what a standard slice would be. So if you do find yourself ordering a slice or two, do be expected that you will be eating about a quarter to a full size of what a standard pizza pie would probably be.
Really?
Yes, they're very big slices, but if that's what you're looking for, then, that's the place to go.
Looks like I'm gonna have to go and order a slice of pizza.
You have to. It's very good food.
You got it, folks. Go check out Stubborn Brother Pizza. Thanks again for joining us, Keegan.
Absolutely.
It was a pleasure talking to you, and I hope you have a great day ahead.
Thank you. Always happy to be here.
And moving on to sports, UT10's Caleb Gill gives us an update about Rocket women's volleyball.
The Rockets volleyball team had one final showdown for the Battle of I-75 earlier this week. But first, they played their final home game of the season this past weekend. The Rockets volleyball team has had a tough season up to this point, but you wouldn't know that from watching them play last weekend against the Buffalo Bulls. The first set of the night, Toledo dominated the Bulls, finishing the set 25-10, before the Bulls came back to win the second set 25-21. Third set was back and forth, but the Rockets pulled through, winning the set 27-25, and they were able to finish the game off in the fourth set with a score of 25-22. Freshman Taylor Alt had another standout performance, finishing the game with 22 kills. Senior Chloe Gillespie stood out as well in her final game at Savage Arena with 15 kills on the night. Earlier this week, the Rockets were looking for revenge against their rival from right down the road. In a game that was back and forth, the Rockets took the early lead, winning the first set 25-19, before the Falcons won sets 2 and 3 by a combined 7 points. With an opportunity for the Falcons to win the game in the fourth set, the Rockets had other plans in mind, as they went on to win the set 25-18. This left the game in the hands of the fifth set. The Rockets got off to an early 3-1 lead in the set before the Falcons got hot and eventually took a 7-5 lead. This would not discourage the Rockets, however, as they would storm back and win the set 15-11. Taylor Alt's 28 kills would help lead the way to upsetting the undefeated Falcons, while also getting revenge on the rival from right down I-75. The Rockets volleyball team will travel to Akron this weekend for the conclusion of their 2021 season.
On March 31st, Toledo women's soccer will have a home game against Ball State, while Toledo baseball will travel to Ball State tomorrow, March 28th. And that's it for this week, and thank you for joining us today. The script was co-produced with Alec Levine. For more news, make sure to tune in every Saturday at 7:45 a.m. And you can catch UT10 live every Thursday at noon. For WXUT 88.3 FM, I'm Deepa Bhujbal. Have a great day.